Hello, hello, hello. Can everybody see me? I'm on the main stage. That's very nice. Oh, I see the chat going off. What's up, what's up, what's up? Daniel, welcome to the show, the 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern slot, where I am going to unbox. I'm an unboxer now. It's a big deal, Daniel.
This is awesome. I'm super excited. Hello to everyone who's tuning in. Gary, great to see you as well. We're here with Damon and Roy as well.
What am I, a second-class citizen? Me first, me second. I'm with it. I love what you just
said. Gary, Masters of the Universe. This is big.
This is fucking huge. Like, I've seen the reaction. You know, I've been busy all day, but I've been trying to kind of poke into the Discord, into Twitter. But I think you've been on the pulse. And I'm going to look at all the people, Liam, Kimmy, Gas, Harrison, Alpha is free. Like, it seems like a lot of people, especially if they're in the know, you know, under 25, you know, I can see more and more people know Masters of the Universe more and more. But man, if you're over 35, people have been losing their mind in excitement to this. And wait till they see. Do you guys put up pictures in the blog post?
Everything.
So they got a sense of how epic this is. But I do think up close and personal in this unboxing, it's a whole different. I agree. I saw the images and then I saw it. I haven't even seen this. I'm actually, and you saw what I did, right? Someone gave it to me, and I was like, no. He was like starting to open it. I'm like, I'm going to unbox live because I want my authentic unboxing happening here. So I'm really excited, Daniel. Let's get everybody set up, but also let's say hello to everybody in the chat because this is a community thing. Obviously, if people are watching all over on Instagram, great to see you. But if you're in the VeeFriends community, TikTok, great to see you somewhere. Where is TikTok? Is it just linked? Is TikTok not happening? You didn't bring it? TikTok, you're coming soon. But the VeeFriends who own, you know, a VeeFriend are in our chat right now through the website on meet.veefriends.com. Everybody, please check out on OpenSea the VeeFriends series 3. You're about to find out why. But we have a really cool unveiling, which will be open to the general public as well. So I'm excited about this. I have a feeling people that are collecting toys, which is on the rise, are about to see some super fire in this brown box. And I'm excited about that. Daniel, set us up.
Amazing. Yeah, let's just start from the top. For those that are joining and have no idea what the heck's going on, you're just tuning in. First of all, thank you for taking time out of your day to be here. We're just really excited here at VeeFriends. We're announcing the most latest partnership with VeeFriends and Mattel and their legendary IP universe, Masters of the Universe franchise, to deliver an unbelievable collaboration. We are releasing, in partnership with Mattel, Masters of the Universe Origins, Skeletor, and VeeFriends Skilled Skeleton 2-pack. It's super exciting. It goes on sale October 6th, 12 p.m., $45 price, and it's available worldwide, US and international. We're going to drop the links here in the chat. This is massive. All of the details of the countries, prices, which I know is super important to our community in Australia, in the UK, all over the world, Canada. We have all that information on the Mattel site. Check out the blog on blog.veefriends. But again, massive collaboration with Masters of the Universe and Mattel to have this VeeFriends Skilled Skeleton and Skeletor coming together in this unique product available on Mattel's official website. We're also joined by...
I'm sorry to interrupt you. And like Maddie N said in the chat, and I think for a lot of people here, I'm looking at Instagram because I know I'm doing this to meet.veefriends.com. Let's call a spade. Skeletor is one of the iconic fictional characters, intellectual property on Earth. And Maddie called it out properly. Like, wait till you see what I'm about to show you. And for Motu fans, for Masters of the Universe fans, and we've got the Mattel gang with us, they're going to go into more nerd culture, more Comic-Con culture, more Masters of the Universe culture. The form factor of Skeletor is incredibly imperative in this toy. There's an enormous amount of He-Man collectors that are going to go after this toy because of Skeletor's form factor that's different than what just a VeeFriends community. I'm actually looking. I have a Ram Man somewhere here. I was going to bring. Oh no! Well, this is, yes. For all the people that don't know, this is Skilled Skeleton in VeeFriends. This is, you're going to be seeing very shortly. But Skeletor is a G, like a real G, and like Skeletor like matters in the culture, right? Like you'll go in like a pretty fucking cool hip hop concert and see somebody rocking a Skeletor hoodie. Like Skeletor is different. And that's why we're so pumped about this. And unlike any other collabo, when we did Mattel with Uno, right? there's Uno collectors, but like there's a different level of Motu fans. Like Masters of the Universe fans are hardcore. One of the things that I'm kind of want to make sure why we did this event is I want people to, I want people to know the exact date and time, Daniel, because I think a lot of people in the VeeFriends community are going to get caught off guard that they're going to be competing with the He-Man Masters of the Universe collectors once this becomes, and this is like on Action Figure Insider right now. It's on Yahoo News. Like the news is spreading on this collab pretty strong in the last hour, and I think it's going to be a little bit more competitive than people think.
Absolutely. Super important. Date, time. Mark your calendars. October 6th, 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific time on creations.mattel.com. A simple search of VeeFriends, you'll pull it up. We have it in our blog. Again, October 6th, 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific time. The best part that I think is really cool as well, Gary, are the Series 1 skilled skeleton holders. They're going to have an opportunity to claim one for free, which is super awesome. So we're really excited for them. What I'd like to do now,
right? Well, there's 40 units. I don't know. I probably have a couple in my vault, but the Series 1 skilled skeleton owners will get this for free.
Absolutely. So we're going to have those details, email and contact to them. Super excited for them as being the OG holders there. I want to pass the mic over to Damon and Roy. If you guys just want to introduce yourself to our community on who you are, your story, what you do, and even maybe a little insight on, I'm seeing comments on who is Skeletor. Some folks may just know Skeletor from the meme, which is very big in culture as well. Very big. So would love to hand the mic to you guys. Thank you for taking the time, and we're super excited about this partnership.
So are we, and thank you so much for inviting us to be a part of this. So I am Damon Nee. I am Senior Director of Creative behind the design of the action figures for Masters of the Universe.
Hello, everyone. I'm Roy Juarez, and I am the key lead packaging designer on Masters of the Universe, Origins, Masterverse, and all these fun projects like we're doing right now, these collab. Really excited to be here, guys.
Amazing. Thank you for being on here. Gentlemen, what do you think from your perspectives, because you weren't there day one, but obviously you've been deep in the Masters ecosystem with your professions. What do you think it is about Skeletor that resonates so heavily with people? I grew up with seeing the cartoon first, as you know, because you're in the business, but I know because I'm a maniac about this stuff. The toys actually, which was rare for the 80s, I don't remember the full details, but the cartoon was a little delayed in comparison to the toys. So that comic book that it came with told us about the lore. The toy hit right away, even before the cartoon. So I remember vividly, me and my friend Robbie Turnick, Andy Greco, and Eric Godfrey, and Marissa Bird were already hyped for the first cartoon episode of He-Man, because the toy ironically hit, which was different than Transformers, G.I. Joe. Like that was all that 80s era where the cartoon would come out, the toy would follow. There was something that happened in the history of He-Man Masters of the Universe where the toy actually came out ahead of the cartoon. So I was there when Cartoon 1 dropped and we lost our minds. But for the kids and the people that weren't, what do you think all these years later, and we're talking 40 years, what do you think it is about Skeletor? Even though he's we've seen this in the Joker, we've seen this where the arch rival can take on a life of its own, but Skeletor hits like on so many levels.
He really does. You're the massive fan.
Well, yeah, I think the reason why Skeletor resonates a lot with a lot of the people, I think it's sort of like embracing that evil. Like a lot of times, people always have like a bad side to them, but they're always so afraid to, show it. But I think with Skeletor, just seeing it, so it's kind of resonates with a lot of people, just kind of like bringing out that bad side of you, like the bad boy side. So I think that's the reason why Skeletor does resonate with fans, and the mini comics for me too. That was actually my introduction to He-Man. I grew up seeing the cartoons, not the cartoons, but the mini comics first. Then I saw the cartoon, and then that was a whole different take on it. And I think it sort of brought new life to Skeletor, just sort of like that more comical, but there was always that, that evil wanting to rule the world undertone that always existed, whether it be in the mini comics or in the cartoon. So that just seems to be some like a fun trait that he has that seems to resonate with fans. It did for me.
Yeah, I mean, he is evil, right? There's no way to spin it another way. But the difference between like the comics and the animation was that in the animation he became more relatable because there was something that was, you saw a funny side to him, there's a comedic side in some ways, whether intentional or otherwise, that made him more relatable. And he is just a cool visual on top of that. You know, he's this big buff character with a skull head. So I mean, you're immediately drawn to him just by the cool visual. And then depending on what medium you're reading or watching to get into him, he is a rich character. There's depth to him, and again that the animation, which this design is based off of, he's funny and relatable, and how he interacts with his cast is I've always enjoyed.
And who doesn't love the laugh, right? That laugh is so iconic.
No question. The dark humor or the wink to the audience watching the cartoon. I mean, somebody asked why did he become a meme, or when did he become a meme? I think a lot of it has to do with he had permission to be a meme based on how he acted in those cartoons.
Yeah.
All right, Daniel, I know you're going to keep us on track because I'm already looking and already 15 minutes off the board quickly. Like,
Totally.
people are already yelling at me to open the box already. They're kind of a little tired of looking at the brown box. Is this the right time to unbox?
I think it may be time. I know Damon and Roy, you guys also have it as well. Gary, I think we should start with you because this experience that you're having is what folks who purchase starting on October 6th at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on Mattel's website are going to have this exact unboxing experience.
I like the starting point. Let me do it this way upside down so people can see it. I like the starting point. Oh, it doesn't work either way. So we got the names on top. Okay, so here's the right off the top gets me super excited is the MOTU comic that comes along with it, which is humongous for me. Like, again, like I'm going to be very frank here. This is like crazy, it's just crazy to look at and know that like just to see Skilled Skeleton in here is just, this is bananas. I don't really have words. Ginger called out properly. Robbie Turning must be going crazy. The fact that this little guy is in, this is like these comics for me when I was 10 and 11 and 9, and like this was huge. This was the only way we knew who the characters were at first before the cartoon came out. And something about this just hits super different for me. Like, and He-Man's in there. This is a pretty big deal. Just
Gary,
yeah, please.
As you're tapping in right now, you can just see it in your emotion too. Like you're literally tapping into like 10-year-old Gary as you're seeing this and realizing the impact it had on you.
It's been a whole journey about building this IP. I'm trying to teach good virtues. He-Man was teaching a lot of things. This was the core of like, if you really look at those cartoons, it's not only entertaining, they're teaching lessons. Adam would jump in and talk to you, and VeeFriends has a big agenda of that. And, I think that it's just crazy. Like, this really was one of the biggest IPs for me and one of the few things I collected. I collected wrestling figures, Star Wars, and He-Man was core, top 3 for me as a child. And, building out this IP has just been a real pleasure for me. And starting with digital collectibles and, very focused on that and its future. Obviously, the NFT market's where it's at right now. And so we're strategizing on what happens going forward. And, the collectible cards are completely out of control with the Fanatics Live thing. But collectible toys, if you've been watching my videos for years, they've always been back there, right? Like you can go back to any Daily V and see anything in my office. They're there. It's a big part. Besides trading cards, I had a few minutes with comic books and then I went heavy collectible toys. I have a bunch of He-Man, Masters of the Universe, original 1985 toys in original package that I bought in the late 90s before this was really like a thing. So like, like Ram Man and Moss Man is still one of the coolest characters I think ever created in the history of creation. And as a toy, bananas, like we'd actually lose it in the grass because it blended in so well and in the core and like, Beast Man and like Ram Man and like Orko, like the whole thing. Like, it's a big IP for me and you can see, how I'm feeling about it. And again, making a limited edition collectible. Let's just get into it because I need to get through this. All right, let's go this way first. This is insane. Just like this was probably the most exciting part of this for me was knowing that for the Masters team, looking at all the stuff they put out, these two gentlemen and their team, it's all nasty. Like, it's not Dorkville. This is like hot, like it's real stuff. Like wait till you see the next thing. This is for the VeeFriends hardcore. I know for people on Instagram and others here like that don't know VeeFriends, but this next scene is about to kill you. Like, this is nuts. Look at this.
That's awesome.
How sick is this? Like, this is Skeletor literally teaming up with a character that I created in my mind and drew. And 3 years later, like, look at this. Like, the stuff I collect, the stuff that like people flip at Comic-Con and goes on eBay and like sits on shelves. Like, this is different. We've done some stuff, but like, this is different. Like, and again, what's unique about this, and I know a lot of VeeFriends people talk about this a lot, this expands our universe. This, unlike anything else we've done, this will bring Masters of the Universe people. They will collect this, and they're gonna, these two gentlemen, this was huge when they explained it to me early in the process. The form factor of Skeletor in this collectible. We're gonna listen to them for 5 minutes. Everyone's gonna understand why on October 6th, the competition is not gonna be the VeeFriends Maxis. It's gonna be the VeeFriends Maxis up against the Motu Maxis and the Skeletor Maxis. And like, that's it's pretty exciting. So, all right. I mean, like,
That's so cool. Shout out again to Roy and Damon here, because being integral in this experience, the little attention to detail here is insane.
Cool.
All right, so here we go. This is insane. Oh my God, this is absolutely crazy sick.
There it is.
Look at this. Look at this. Look at the detail. Oh, now I'm getting the scene. Look at this. The back scene. Look at this. Literally shaking out of excitement. Look at this. Look how sick this packaging is. This is insane. Like, oh my God.
Nice work, Roy.
Thank you.
Roy, this is too much, brother. Like,
So yeah, just a little bit of backstory on that packaging. Just wanted to really highlight how they each influence each other. You know, so we can see from the front how Skeleton influences Skeletor. He teaches him to embrace compassion. So that's why you get the heart-shaped hands, you know, coming together. And then the backside is kind of Skeletor teaching Skeleton to embrace the Havoc side. So it's kind of like that good, evil, that duality that we're playing with, you know. And yeah, when you open up that packaging, you see that that cool pack out. There's also like a window actually here, you know. So when we open it right here, you know, right there, you can see that awesome pack out. So you got that cool illustration. You kind of like bookending the product, but then the middle there.
Snake
see that
mountain
pack
back
out?
out.
Yeah, and then it has this removable plastic window. So then that way, all the extra piece count is getting in the artwork. And it's basically collector friendly. So you're able to just go in there, get the toys out, play with them, pose them, put them back in package if you wish to. And like I said, you know, like the backside, embracing the Havoc, have cool close up of Skeleton and Skeletor there. And as you open that up, you get that moment there, you know, like both them just kind of like arms in the air, like really feeling the power. There you go. So yeah, really fun with this one. And then just, you know, fun little doodles here that we did on the top. Oh, that just fell. Collector friendly. But yeah, just cool illustrations there. We have, you know, right there, sort of Skeleton and Skeletor going down this hill, like on the land shark, you know, and then, you know, also the compassion, you know, just them two embracing each other. Really cool moments, you know. There's a lot of fun little Easter eggs throughout, just kind of cool 360 visuals all around.
That's amazing. And as Gary's opening it, and we're going to see some
Look
more.
at this. See, look at this. So, you know, a couple people said the packaging's worth it alone. They're not wrong. This is insane. It's really crazy. Look at that.
Yeah, the art and design here is incredible. Another cool note that I think a couple of people caught on to quickly is if you look at Skilled Skeleton, if you guys put that in your room and office at night with no lights, correct me if I'm wrong, Roy and Dan, but that glows in the dark.
He does. We absolutely went the we went the route of having him glow in the dark. We thought that'd be a cool touch, something very toyetic, and potentially in a way showing that he's embracing the Havoc and he's now glowing with some of that evil Havoc energy. So it's just we wanted to have that influence of the characters upon each other, and that was one way that how we thought we could make that happen with Skilled Skeleton.
It looks like Gary's trying to make his pre-order right now on Mattel.
Are you allowed to pre-order? Not yet.
Not just yet. October 6th, everyone. October 6th, 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. It'll be available.
Can they see this yet? This is up, right?
It's up. You can go right now to creations.mattel.com.
Shit, look at the zoom in. No, really, it's really well done. Like you can really like I'm really impressed, Mattel team.
Super nice. Damon and Roy and even Gary here.
Look what you can do with them. How
That's
sick
awesome.
is that? Fucking crazy is that?
That's my next question.
It was a skilled skeleton with Skeletor, Daniel.
It's so crazy.
Making hard hands, making the hard hands together.
It's amazing. Damon, Roy, what are the accessories, like kind of like the product breakdown? I think for everyone, the boxing's 10 out of 10. Price point's awesome. The packaging's great. What's the accessory breakdown that we have here? It's basically a 2-pack, correct? It
is a 2-pack. Okay. What we're really leaning into is the fact that there's with our Master of the Universe figures, there's some modularity, meaning that you can mix and match some parts. And so we wanted, again, to bring the 2 characters together and have their influence and become besties. And so by creating the hard hands, you're able to interchange some of the hand accessories in there to create hard hands. You can create rock out hands, or you can have hands to grip the accessories. Skeletor has a flex chain that the skilled skeleton has given to him, that bequeathed him, and he's wearing that on the package. You can see it there on Gary's screen. He also has his Havoc Staff and Sword. And then there's also for Skeletor, and this is the first time this will be available, is this is our new, we've updated the bodies of our Master of the Universe figures to look more like the old animation that we've been referencing all this time. And so he stands a little taller. He's still very much a muscular character, but he's not as what we call has that squatty body. And the likeness of his face, of his overall look, is based on the animation. And so you're able to mix and match the face plates of Skeletor, so you can have his standard look, and then you can have a look in which he's feeling the influence of the good that Skeletor has brought into him. And so that's where you see the 2 different expressions there in the corner. So you can get that "I'm feeling good" kind of expression for Skeletor.
This is awesome. And I'm not surprised, Gary, that's
Q&A time.
Oh, let's do some Q&A.
Yeah, let's just make sure we we can hear you. You everyone heard you. Good thing you didn't say anything crazy like "fuck you, Gary." We can hear you. Is that Tyler?
I think it's Tyler. Yeah, we're gonna get into some Q&A.
Tyler, whatever your setting is, everyone heard you. Thank God.
No alpha.
Nah, because we're all up here, so it could only be so bad. This is insane to me. Actually, before we get into Q&A, Damon, Roy, talk to everybody about why this specific form factor of Skeletor in action figure set is something that most of the VeeFriends here, unless they collect, Motu, really won't understand of how big of a deal this is going to be for the Masters community, and why this may trigger more demand on that end than just the VeeFriends community.
Yeah. So again, like I was mentioning, this is the update. So we prior to this look for Skeletor and for the other Master of the Universe characters, the body had been based off of the styling. The overall figure was based off of the vintage figures. This time it's based on the animation, and so this is the first time that Master of the Universe fans will be able to get their hands on this more Filmation style look, our cartoon collection look.
Yeah. So everybody, I apologize for interrupting, brother. For everybody, this is why this was such an exciting collaboration for me, knowing that in the history of Masters of the Universe toy collecting, which is monstrous, that the first form factor of the animation body is going to be available in this 2-pack. This becomes, if you know about collecting, this becomes a big deal. There will be people in 7 years when they go on their journey looking for the first action figure that had this form factor that will have to go and get this toy, the Skilled Skeleton 2-pack, to ever own it. And that's a big, big deal in toy collecting. And that will create, I want to use my words wisely here because I hate to create speculation because of everything that's gone down in NFT land, but let there be no confusion. This has demand in the Masters of the Universe world in a big way I really felt comfortable in Roy and Damon's hands. I mean, honestly, you can't even imagine how epic this really is until you have it in your hands. And so for me, as you can imagine, having an incredible amount of focus on how to make sure that this is, a worthwhile investment. How do you drive down the cost, create the excitement and the expansion of the intellectual property, but create something that has a value to people that buy it? There's only a very small group of people on earth that are really going to buy this on the 6th. You got the VeeFriends community, you got the hardcore masters community, but this is not available at every Walmart or Target. It's not available at every, it's not at Comic-Con. This is directly on the website. This is going to be people in the know. Unlike the Uno, collab, unlike my trading cards, where it's really over time as we build demand for VeeFriends, those implications will happen as a collectible. This actually has a built-in audience that, I've gone on the Masters of the Universe toy and forums and toy forums and Reddits. They've been waiting for this body. Roy, Damon, people have been waiting to know when this body comes out. The fact that it's coming out, and by the way, I'm prepared for some people to be annoyed and be like, well, why do I have to buy that other skill? Like, they don't even know about VeeFriends. They don't care about skill content, but they're going to want this. And that creates a double demand factor that I think is super exciting and something I'm happy to create for my VeeFriends community.
Yeah, there's also one other thing that's super cool about this figure that that hasn't been done before. And if you can see, there's basically these 2 face plates that you get for Skeletor. So the head is actually, the faceplate's swappable. You can actually remove the faceplate and then put these two other different expressions on him. So that we haven't done that yet in Origins. That'll be the first time that we're actually doing that in this form factor. So that's actually super cool. Something really cool also.
Daniel, a lot of people are asking about quantity. That's not publicly being released, right?
That's not public information.
Sanan's hand almost fell off his arm. Actually, Sanan, hold on. I got a hand for you. Here we go. Let me just get you a hand right down here. Go ahead.
One important thing to note, again, October 6th, 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, $45, 3 per customer. We have a limit. There's a limit here. So that's something to be aware of that I think is super important as we're talking about quantity is there is a limit of 3 per customer. So just high level, that's super important. But we got some folks in the backstage, Gary and Damon, Roy, if you guys are ready for some Q&A.
You see a bunch of other people, the affordability, this was something I was blown away that Mattel was able to come through on. I've done a lot of toy collecting. I don't know what else to tell you. 45 for what they did. It's funny. $45 is a lot of money. I don't think of that as no money, but it's funny watching the chat as I was talking. There's enough people that are educated that were the boxes were there's people that are, they say the website says 50. Maybe that's because they haven't updated.
It's updated. It could be a hard refresh thing. We're good.
Hard refresh, Mikey Toy Box. I appreciate Mikey's call out on this. And this is a big shout out to Mattel and y'all. I can't believe what you packed in here for the price. Thank you. Really. Thank you.
That's awesome. And yeah, again, 2 packs. So it's 2 characters, the glow in the dark, the accessories, the boxing, the mini comic strip, all of it. Just super well done, guys. I love it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Let's go ahead and get some Q&A. I know we got some people waiting up there. If you guys are game, backstage, if you guys want to bring some folks up, I know they're really excited.
Roy, Damon, were you guys about to say something or?
No, we're just seeing how much fun we had working on this and working with the VeeFriends team. It's been a pleasure. It's a lot of fun.
Thank you, brother. Look at this. Look cool that is. Robbie Clark, what's up, brother?
Hey, what's up, brother? First, congrats. This is amazing. We're similar age. This was my childhood and another toy from a different brand. But Masters of the Universe, big deal. So I'm pumped for you, man. That's so cool.
I appreciate it. Chris Voigt coming in heavy. Go ahead, Rob. You have a question for these guys?
Yeah. So these guys, and for you as well, Gary. Collaboration's obviously big deal. VeeFriends for your lifetime. But business wise, for you, what's important about how you collab, who you collab with? Is there just some Ask Gary V advice on how to do collabs properly?
I think you have to have intent and truth. I don't mind mentioning other IPs in front of these guys, Rob. So Thundercats. I like Thundercats. I like them, but there was a humongous delta. You're talking if Star Wars and wrestling were 10 for me, He-Man was 9 and Thundercats was 4. And so if I'm able to have a collaboration with He-Man, first, authenticity, right? I can speak about Moss Man in detail. I can talk about Man of Mars. Like I can talk about, Sheila. Like I can talk about stuff. I remember when She-Ra was launched. I remember AJ, I'm sorry to blow up your spot, but I remember my 4-year-old brother sitting in the living room saying, I am She-Ra. Like, obviously you love, as an older brother, I love just saying that out loud to the world so everyone can joke with AJ about it. Battle Cat and Snake Mountain and the lessons from Adam. And like, it's an authentic. So first, I love authenticity, right? Like, I love that I can speak to this. It means something to me. As a matter of fact, I don't know if it was, I'm sure it was caught on film. I'm sure some of you saw this. We've announced a lot of things through the years. I got a little bit emotional there as I was going through it. I was even shaking, my hands were shaking a little. That's unheard of. I'm like, I never shake. Like, this means a lot to me. So that matters with collaboration. I think it needs to mean something. But then there's also the business factor of it. I know that this is going to acquire more awareness because I know how sought after this Skeletor, we talked through this and these guys know, like, there was a lot of conversations here. There was times where I was like, I'm not sure I want to do this because I want to be right. I want to be a great partner too. I want to sell through. Like, there's a lot that goes into this. And again, this, I see Mo just joined, he's been following Chris. Like, this is a journey. This is a true journey. And knowing how this IP started, it'd be like an IP that started with like a canceled cartoon after one season. Like, we've had the ups and downs of the NFT market, a core part of this. The trading cards thing is brewing. Like, I'm really pot committed long-term to this. And so I have to think about things that make strategy. And then honestly, I care about the collectible aspect of all this. Like, this is a very highly collectible piece at an obnoxiously affordable price. And so I'm excited about that for the people that, Rob, I get it. Like 50 to 75% of people are going to want to buy one and put on their shelf. But, we thought through a lot about the 3 product limit. And I thought through, like, what does that mean? And like we think through this stuff. And like, I know if people buy 3, they're thinking about, let me own 1, maybe I'll flip 2. And I worry about it being up or down. Like, like I'm not in control of when people decide to flip it or trade or things. So you just think about all these things. But, I think for me, I think there's an enormous amount of credibility that comes to the IP in having someone like Masters of the Universe even be interested in collaborating, elevates skilled skeleton. I'm thinking about storytelling. There's a lot in the pipe around animation, music, content. This creates a context point. So there's a lot of things to think about. 3 is not just there because I think most people, actually, I think more people are buying 3 to give 2 of these as a gift because a lot of the fans of this IP sit in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, right? So I know for sure if I was one of the 3 of you that are on screen right now, like, I'm buying one for Robbie Turnick and buying one for Eric Godfrey for Father's Day, because I want, because think about it. A lot of you are emotionally attached to this IP. Oh, I'm going to give one to, my friend because it's a nice gift. He or she will be pumped about Skeletor, but it's going to make them introduce them to VeeFriends. And so just a lot of thoughts that go into my man. Price point, like this one of the big triggers, this, a lot of things we do with partners, they don't have international structure. One of the things we've been spending more and more time on is what do we say yes and no to if they don't have international infrastructure? I want to make sure this is available in Canada. If, let's say, a very handsome man with good hair would want to buy it in Canada. And so, like, you got to be ready for all these things. So we think about it, and there's all like twists and turns. We were in a meeting for an hour and a half about a bunch of stuff you're all about to hear in the next 2-3 weeks. You're just making lots of decisions on the tone, the temperature. This has been a long time in the making. Well over a year. They're trying to anticipate those things, like what's the world look like in a year or so. A lot of things, brother. And so
Thank you so much. When I saw the Willful Wizard, I thought of Orko.
Right. So for you, like when I'm trying to push on to like Reebok about this or that, I'm trying to, when I forward it to their CEO and say, you should do something with my man here, I'm trying to think about what you could actually bring to the table. So there's a lot, there's a lot. Chris, get here.
Thanks so much, Rob. Appreciate it. We have Chris up here. Yep, I can hear you as well. We have Mohit as well. Thank you, guys. Chris, 1 second here. I know we have the mask on. I'm actually going to hand the mic really quick over to Mohit, only because, Gary, what crazy thing, we did prioritization with this tool. We can actually give access to spectacular. So Mohit.
Eat it, Chris. Eat it.
It's coming up next, Chris.
No, Mo. I need Chris to eat it. Go ahead, Mo.
Tech's getting some love. Price point, Gary, I think you fucked up. It's not a $45 product. It has to be a lot higher because I have a 7-year-old kid and I go buy toys, and $45 doesn't buy you much these days.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I forgive you.
Well, there's a couple ways to think about that. I think to your answer, if I fucked up, there's a lot of reality of that being on the consumer shelf. I do think, and we do think a lot, and we're feeling it with super sticker pricing and some other stuff. Are we in a place where we want to maximize every dollar on suggested retail, right? Or do we want to leave some room for, think about how small who's going to get this is. And so I'm very empathetic to your point. And I think from one business angle, your aggressive call out of like, you fucked up is right. I think from a different angle of leaving dollars on the table for the audience that first owns it is another fun way to debate it. And a big call out, somebody in there, Mo, said, oh, $45 utility for getting a free one for a skill rep. We're playing forever. And so as you can imagine, even like we just talked through a bunch of burn islands, some of them are this narrow, some of them are this wide. One of the things I'm trying to think through is like, not like everyone in a silo can be analyzed, but a collective over 20, 40, 50, 70 activations. I'm trying to think of the ebbs and flows and like leave different rooms for different things. So I respect that point of view. And I think,
is more on the IP building standpoint. So if you look at Skilled Skeleton as a character, this is the first activation. It's been featured in Halloween. What does the journey look like? Do you plan on getting Skilled Skeleton in another collab with, let's say, a completely different, form? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, it's a great question.
What I'm worried about is it can get to a point where Skilled Skeleton has had, I don't know, let's say 11 activations in 4 years, and now the journey feels a little lost.
Yeah, that is to your point.
Yeah. But like, what is he doing?
There's two separate tracks here. One, I do view this era as alpha, right? You go look at Daredevil, first appearance, he's in full yellow. He's got a different personality. Today, we don't see him that way. So I will say officially, and I haven't really said, I've alluded to it, but I'm very comfortable in this. I do leave myself and my team the creative freedom to adjust narratives, personalities, things of that nature. I'm going through that very heavily right now. That being said, great call out about brand integrity and how you build. I don't think it's going to be 11. We're not in that place where we're going to create so many mixed messages that by the time we kind of solidify, obviously we're very aggressively, and I think we're finally getting to the point where the community will start to see this. There's been incredible work on character development. We've got a kids book coming out next year. Animation and content is a very big part of next year. And so I think you're going to start seeing some characters solidify themselves. And to your point, Mo, you're going to see some of your favorite characters show up next year in animation form. And it might be different than the little cartoons or even the social media content from a personality, from a voice, from a vibe. At the same token, because we're in alpha, but as we now are kind of getting into the fourth year, third year, things of that nature, some of these characters are going to mold in. So to your point, I don't think you'll see Skilled Skeleton and 6 more things that are completely dispersed, and then there's confusion.
That's what I was worried about.
Yeah, and I think that's a very good call. I don't think you'll see that. I think we're starting to zone in on certain characters doing certain things, and so it's a mix to your question. There is definitely some alpha going on. I've not been scared to put out a mini video on social or part of the toy thing, and then if I change my mind on Gratitude Gorillas or like, I still think we're quote unquote early enough. At the same token, I'm incredibly conscious of if we do too many things too many times with the same characters, there's so much confusion. It might take muckery to solidify.
Okay, and you said the animation thing is getting closer. I mean, I know that's something we're all very excited about. Is that happening?
Too. And as you can imagine, there's been a lot of thoughtfulness. Oh, sorry, somebody might need to go on mute. It's not only the thoughtfulness of the proper way to do it, proper. The process of animation is quite an interesting, long journey. Like, I remember going into a meeting early on and saying, I want a Halloween special. And they're like, 3 years. I'm like, what? And so, animation's a beast, but look.
I've mentioned about the animation business my wife started. I think we met a few months ago. Real quick, I mean, for people on YouTube, it's called Out of a Book, but I am I'm realizing that, like, I tell my voiceover artist we need to change something, and when she does change that, that doesn't show up on the video for like 6 months, and we are like nothing, and we're like tiny, you know.
No,
So I can,
that's why South Park is so brilliant, and we've got a lot of different tweaks. So look, we're gonna play high, low, left, right with animation. We'll see a lot more in the future. Mo, thank you, brother. Thank you.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, excited.
Thank you, Mohit. Chris, thank you for being patient. I love that you're dressed up for the occasion. Any questions you have while we have Damon and Roy here as well for the Mattel team on the product? I know you're super into it right now, and as an iconic soldier, I see you.
I appreciate that. Yeah, my question is to anybody who wants to answer, but what is your favorite part during this collaboration process? And maybe talk about some challenges that you may have had during the process. I love the process of how these things come together. So yeah, take it away.
Yeah, let's do this. Roy, Damon, let me make you feel very comfortable. I know we know each other a little bit, but like one of the things I love is vulnerability, transparency. Like, you know, I'm also probably very comfortable with this question because I know how I treat collaborations. So I don't think it could be too horrible, whatever comes out of your mouth. I think, why don't you answer Chris's answer in twofold. One, this collaboration, and two, maybe the others that you've done or considered and what the variable differences are or some of the common themes for people that are thinking about it.
So the fun part about the collaboration is basically when you have the other team coming with their idea to the table and, just kind of hearing them out, seeing what they like or, what they don't like, and just kind of taking that and then also working here with our internal team and then just kind of blending the two ideas. That part's always the fun part because you're basically, you're kind of in a way, you're kind of like the middle person trying to make, this side happy, and just bringing the two ideas, meshing them together. And that part's fun. And that's also kind of like the challenge too, because sometimes some ideas can be very different, right? Sometimes some team might have something very different, and then you're kind of seeing your perspective from like your own IP, and then they're seeing it from their own IP. So that can be a challenging part. But again, just bringing the two ideas together, that's always like the fun part that I have.
For me, it's about the story. What is the story we're telling? Why are we bringing these two brands together? How are they interacting? What is that nexus? What is that the confluence of those personalities and the worlds? And once we struck that idea of having Skilled Skeleton and Skeletor have an influence on each other, the first time we drew Skeletor with this, cool. Hilarity ensued, and we're like, okay, we found it. This is it. This is going to happen, and we were super stoked because we had to find that touch point, and once we did, it was almost easy at that point.
And for me, Chris, you have to know the role you play. So for me, when I go into this partnership, for example, I'm aware of the 40 years of rich history. Sometimes I have to do my homework, whether that's like Squishmallow, right? I did 20 hours of community homework before I went into that collab because I wanted to get a sense. This one was easy for me. I have friends who are actual friends and acquaintances who are hardcore, masters collectors, right? So for me, it was about, and I hope these two guys can tell you how incredibly quote unquote hands off I was. I have a young IP. I have a lot of freedom. They have an incredibly mature, important IP. They have less freedom. They have to hold up so many values, so many history lessons, so many things that the community holds cherish and important. And so for me, it was about flexibility and really giving them creative freedom at the highest levels. Of course, there'd be things that I wouldn't compromise. Like I couldn't have the comic, the Masters comic kill Skilled Skeleton. That'd be bad. I have things to do with Skilled Skeleton. So, but in this scenario, and this is something I've noticed, Chris, a lot of people come to me and they want to collab in all forms of life where I have all the leverage and they come in with audacity. And I smile to myself. I'm like, you're the one asking. Masters, even though we had an incredible Uno collaboration and even though I have an incredible relationship with, with Mattel, it wasn't like these two emailed me 55 times and said, we need to do a collab. I was coming with the idea, quote unquote, the ask. And so I think too many people don't have the humility when in understanding the roles. And to me, I knew how to hold up the Skeletor and Motu IP, and I wasn't willing to draw lines in the sand other than I wanted these two gentlemen in the team to feel incredibly authentic and was willing to go through a lot of work and meetings with my team and them. And if they were unable to get to an authentic place, I told my team, I said, listen, this could be 15, 20 meetings. This could be hundreds of hours of collective work. And they may have to come to us at 11:30 p.m. before midnight and say, we don't feel it. And so like, I think that's, something to keep in mind around collaborations,
Cool. Thank you very much. That was awesome.
Thanks so much, Chris. We got two more coming up on stage as well. Damon, Roy, and even Gary, how rare is it to see Skeletor in that vein with like the hearts and actually having a smile? Like, is that super rare? Like for folks that don't know anything about Skeletor, like this seems kind of unique in that way.
Never been done before. All right, it's something very, very, very unique. I mean, he has had expression changes in different content, but to have it in product and to do something that's very modern and contemporary is a little break frame. But again, it made sense because of story. It made sense because of the collaboration and the influence of one another. And so that's why we brought it together. So like, yeah, it's the first time, and it has to make sense. And this made sense. That's
amazing. Hearing the line "never been done before" and then having Masters of the Universe and VeeFriends in that sentence is pretty remarkable for this character.
It goes back to Chris's last question of like, look, I really, as you can imagine, to me, compassion, respect. View collaborations like the way you enter someone's home. When I tell you, when I enter someone's home and it is obvious in the first nanosecond that I have to take my shoes off, I'm taking my shoes off. I'm entering someone's home. I don't care what my point of view on that is. I can do anything I want in my home. If I smell it in the first nanosecond, my shoes are coming off immediately. I'm respecting entering someone's home. So first, this is a 40-year home, 50-year home. Like it's a real home, Motu. But as you can imagine, Daniel, in return, once we got over that, I knew that I wanted to do great things for VeeFriends. I have responsibility for this community. And so you're hearing the first form factor, first, like I know how much this is going to bring demand for this collectible, this toy, and that's going to be of the benefit of the people in our community. And I want that.
That's awesome. Well, we got two spectacular people here on stage with us. I'm going to hand it to Gagan first, just because you did have the hand up, and we'll pass it over to Laura. If you guys have a question for Gary, or even the Mattel team while we have them, super awesome.
Sure. Thanks, Daniel. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah. Hey, question for Gary. First of all, great work, everybody. And I think in the interest of authenticity, my only exposure to the character is through memes.
Yeah.
Coming out right up front.
Yep.
And also, I just have to say, looking back at the box, this is the most badass interpretation of the VeeFriend character I've ever seen so far. Fingers crossed. So that's on the creative side. Yeah, like it's super cool. My question specifically was, I think, and Gary, you've been talking about this since the pre-mint days, right? Expanding the IP, which is more sort of creative side of things. And you also talk about left and right frames, right? So on the quant side, like how do you quantify these collaborations, right? Like how do you really measure the success, like 6 months, 12 months down the line and so on? What's your take on that?
So already with trading cards, I can see first-time buyers of VeeFriends Series 2 NFTs directly correlated to accounts that are on social that we can backtrack into their social and see that they discovered the IP at the national. So there's a lot of work we do to see what brings people into consideration to the NFT. And so we think, especially during this market, physical collectibles is an incredible way to do it. I think you're going to see it quite a bit. When I heard you just say that, you don't understand how good that made me feel about your exposure to Skeletor. My dream is that you go to a streaming service or YouTube and now watch an episode. Like you can't imagine how epic Skeletor is. And for me, I know I personally and the VeeFriends community brings a big audience. I mean, Motu's humongous, but we're not tiny. There's gonna be a real chunk here, and I'm pumped that so many people from VeeFriends will now maybe consider Motu as something they care about. And in return, the way I'll measure this is a couple ways. One, did this bring value to my audience? Both for they were happy, little things like you saying this is the most badass interpretation of the character. I'm excited about that. I have a lot of badass intentions. Maybe some could call it bad intentions. But we haven't shown that yet, right? We've shown you where series 2 is, which is a little bit of a different thing, and got a kid's book coming out. So showing a little bit of the preview. 2, I want people in Motu to fall in love with VeeFriends as well. And I know through this, I can't wait to go to San Diego Comic-Con next year and walk around and see this at collectors' tables for sale and say hello to them, be like, oh, and they're like, oh, and they may be a collector that's not even thinking about VeeFriends. All they cared about was, the part we talked about earlier, which is how important in Masters this figure is, right? But by this being at Comic-Con, my ability to be like, hey, and learn. And so in a long-term view, we're looking at how much did this bring people into the franchise? But the other thing is, does this now create the framework of where this character can play? Obviously, we won't have the luxury of it playing in the Masters universe, but like what the energy of this collaboration allows for the truth. Like, think about a skilled skeleton reference to this collaboration in 5 years. Think about a skilled skeleton video game or cartoon or book that has skilled skeleton dreaming something from a scene from this comic. And it's like a little, Easter egg. There's just so many things that can be done. So we're establishing permission and consideration.
Awesome.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate you. I'm going to hand the mic over to Laura. And Laura, just a quick shout out on a personal note. Everyone knows you're a creative, a copywriter. I just want to congratulate you. Gary, I don't know if you know, Laura just recently released a new book called Duck Buddies, which is really awesome. Just want to give her flowers. It's not easy, as you know, as an operator creatively to launch something like that. So congrats.
And thank you, Daniel. That's so sweet. And thanks to you, Gary, too. You signed a rough draft copy at VCon and you wrote, keep pushing.
I remember.
And I just keep that because, everyone encounters ups and downs as you create something. So I always kept that in my mind.
Mike, actually, just so you understand, like VeeFriends are the only ones in the chat, but people could be also watching this on my socials because I wanted to make sure it's on Instagram. Again, a big part of my requirement is access to the VeeFriends holders, but awareness to the broader section so more people become those people. All right, Laura, go ahead.
This is so cool. And I'm an 80s baby too, so this is really exciting.
Like, how sick is that? And the detail, I'm telling you, it's nuts. We didn't even go into that. They talked about it for a second, but the hands switch out. It's like, it's a wild toy. Like, I think Mo's point is absolutely right. The price point is remarkable.
Yeah, my younger brother and I watched all these cartoons all the time. So my question for Dame and Roy and you, Gary, is what are maybe some metrics or general things you're trying to hit to kind of test this as a great collab? And would you potentially do other characters like He-Man and She-Ra in the future, depending?
I'll let the Mattel, Motu team answer from their perspective first.
I think you kind of hit on some of that already, Gary. It's like, what is the fan resonance? How are they reacting? How are they from both sides of VeeFriends and Motu? How are they seeing the value in this? And are they enjoying the story that we're telling? Do they want to see more? And these are the things that we will be considering because it would be great to bring in more characters from VeeFriends and more characters from Motu and bring them together in this type of way. We really enjoyed pulling this together.
That's awesome. Yeah, I especially love She-Ra because it's like badass lady.
Look, She-Ra was very top of mind. I told you my story. Like, that is like one of my greatest memories in my childhood was my brother when we first moved to Hunterdon County, New Jersey. We didn't have cable at first. And like literally all we had was like She-Ra on tape and it was playing over and over and over because AJ was 3, 4. And that was his favorite cartoon. AJ was She-Ra for a full year. AJ was She-Ra. And so, look, the Uno collaboration, if the Uno collaboration did not go so great for Mattel, we're not here today.
Right.
Right? Now, I anticipate, because of how passionate Masters of the Universe, and they know, there's some purists who are going to be like, what the fuck? Like, you can't have anybody from the outside. The question becomes what we just saw earlier. I also know that for that small group, right, that there's a wider group of tens of thousands of people in our world that are going to re-fall in love with this character, this IP, discover it, I have a very young crew as well, not just the 30, 40, 50. Many of only know this guy from a meme. This now gives them another story. They read the comic. So, hopefully this goes well, and hopefully there's opportunities. I mean, Fearless Fairy and She-Ra is a nice little 2-pack, right? Ambitious Angel, She-Ra. There's a lot to be done, but we don't want to rush it or force it either. And so there's definitely things to think through.
Cool. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Laura. We got last 2 questions here, rapid fire as we hit top of the hour.
Yeah,
Benny,
I have a 3 o'clock hard, so I'll go fast.
For sure. Benny, good to see you.
Yeah, real quick. I was like 7 years old when this came out. I don't really remember all the story details of Masters of the Universe, but I am excited. I saw that you can get it on Apple and you can go watch them again. Do you guys still create new animations and new storylines with He-Man and Skeletor?
Yes. So if you have a Netflix account, you can watch some great content there. So we have new animation, new season starting in the spring. So we have more to come.
And then the other thing for Gary and the collab team, what's the process on sneaking in Skilled Skeleton into an animation like that? Do you guys have to get permission from Gary? Does Gary have to want it? How does all that work?
Anybody who owns any IP controls that IP, and so there's no sneaking, especially.
Well, that's what I mean, but
trust me,
the heart is cool. The heart is cool though, and I get what you're saying from some of the purists. If Skeletor was this evil bad guy, right? They might not like the heart and the soft side of
Yeah, that's right. There's always those kind of things, but you keep pushing the envelope and you keep trying to figure it out, and that becomes the game. Love you, Benny. Good to see you. Let's get Anthony because
you
I
got it. Anthony, 60 seconds. You're on the clock. Good to see you. Go
You're
ahead.
You're on mute, Anthony.
You're still on mute.
You're still on mute.
One second. We'll wait. Let's see if anybody can unmute him. Let's see if he can. There we go.
Clicks for Google. All
Yeah,
right.
go.
So the whole kindness thing, why Gary now? Does this kindness thing really work for Mattel in a sense with this character? And will there be other avenues with the other VeeFriends characters?
I can't speak for Mattel. I can tell you that back to the same way they couldn't compromise on anything. I'm not going to compromise that kindness is the greatest skill that I want to teach in the world. And so I'm thrilled that it worked for Mattel. And I think Skeletor does have a really irreverent personality. And to be very honest, I think about why someone would say yes. The reason I get a lot of deals done is I give a lot of thought to even the potential of a yes from the other side. And I know way, way, way too much about Skeletor to know that this is absolutely in pocket to play, because it's absolutely the curveball that Skeletor can throw. And so, I can't speak for Mattel. Obviously, they've spoken with the decision to make. Right. But I think we all think about what's important. And for me, Skilled Skeleton showing up in Snake Mountain and then just trying to beat up He-Man, or Ram Man, that wasn't going to work. That wasn't going to get the full story across of what we need to get done.
I was psyched to see the shorts on JetBlue, so keep up the good work, man.
Thank you, but yeah, the JetBlue shorts is fun, and it's going to be a really fun. October's we are loaded. This is a perfect way to end. First, let me end with Damon Roy. Thank you. I love you, men. Thank you. I'm so excited. Everybody else who's watching anywhere, all my social right now is linked to the current blog post. I'll link it again. We'll be very loud over the next week or two about the launch October 6th on this, and October is loud. I'm also live on Fanatics Live tomorrow night doing more pack breaking. So please go to VeeFriends.com/cards. Make sure you follow the VeeFriends cards account, specifically on X, Twitter. There's information there. Register your Fanatics Live account, because tomorrow's going to be a big night of giveaways because I'm in the mood. So we'll see you soon. Love you all. Right, thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Anthony. And as we're closing out here, everyone, reminder, October 6th, 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific.
This is insane.
This is going to be on Mattel's website.
This is
U.S.,
insane.
international, super insane. Damon, Roy, thank you so much again. Any final words here as we close out for the community?
It's the fucking coolest.
There it is. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. It's been a blast.
Thank you, everyone.